Okay, so what if I told you that one of the most effective policy advocates in Washington, D.C. wasn't some high-powered lobbying firm, but a family-owned beauty school from Kentucky? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But it's absolutely true. Let's dive into the incredible story of how one small business created waves that reached the very highest levels of government.
So, this story doesn't kick off in the halls of Congress. Nope. It starts right here in Louisville, Kentucky, with a family business called the Louisville Beauty Academy. You know, on the surface, it looks like a lot of other trade schools. But what they were doing differently, well, it was about to set them on a collision course with history. And that really brings us to the million-dollar question. How on earth does a local beauty school, a beauty school, end up making national headlines, achieve something no other business in the U.S. has ever done, and become this powerful voice for small businesses everywhere? That's the incredible journey we're about to unpack. All right, so to really get how they made such a splash nationally, we've got to go back to the beginning, back to their core mission. It all starts with the founder, Tran, and this vision he had to build a completely different kind of school from the ground up.
And this quote from Tran, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? The mission was never just about teaching cosmetology. It was about empowerment. It was a vision born straight from his own experience as an immigrant entrepreneur, specifically designed to tear down barriers for other people.
So how'd they pull it off? Well, the Louisville Beauty Academy, or LBA, they basically threw out the old rule book. They made their classes super accessible, offering them in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. But the real game changer, it was how you paid, a pay-as-you-go system. The whole goal was to get students skilled, licensed, and working, all without that crushing weight of debt. And when you put the two side by side, the difference is just, wow, it's night and day. On one side, you've got the typical path, huge costs, maybe crippling debt before you even earn your first paycheck. And on the other, the LBA path. You get the skills, you get the license, and you walk into your new career with zero debt. This was a revolutionary shift in how vocational education could work.
Okay, that all sounds great on paper, right? But did it actually work in the real world? Well, that's where we see the first ripple. Let's take a look at the actual, measurable results this whole approach had on the community. First number for you, nearly 2,000. That's how many licensed professionals have graduated from LBA. And think about it, these aren't just graduates with a piece of paper. They're new, debt-free members of Kentucky's workforce, ready to build a life from day one. And that new workforce, it translates into some serious cash. We're talking up to $50 million annually, flowing right back into Kentucky's economy from their wages and all the businesses they start. This is what building community wealth actually looks like.
And finally, the number one, as in 2025, LBA became the only business in the entire state of Kentucky to be named to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's super prestigious CO 100 list. That's a list of the top 100 small businesses in all of America. Yeah, that ripple was definitely starting to turn into a wave.
But see, this success, it wasn't enough to just keep it local. It lit a fire. It became the fuel for a much bigger fight, to take on the systemic barriers right there in their own state. And this is where the story pivots from just business to full-blown advocacy.
With all this proof that his model worked, Tran totally transformed. He went from being an educator and an entrepreneur to being this relentless advocate, fighting not just for his own students, but to change the entire system for everybody.
And this wasn't just talk. We're talking about real action with real wins. He was a key player in getting a major state law passed, Kentucky Senate Bill 14, which for the first time ever gave people like Asian Americans, nail techs, and estheticians a real seat at the table on state boards. Plus, he successfully pushed for licensing exams in multiple languages, opening up careers for so many more people.
So you've got the local impact, you've got the state-level change, and that brings us to the final wave. This is where things go from, wow, that's impressive, to, wait, that's never happened before.
Okay, to really get how insane this is, you gotta look at the odds. The U.S. Chambers Award, over 12,000 businesses competing for it. The National Small Business Association's Top Award, you're one of only about 5 finalists in the whole country. LBA didn't just win one of them, they won both.
And just think about what these two different awards represent. One is for being an amazing, innovative business that lifts up its community. The other is for being a top-notch advocate, changing the rules on a national level. I mean, being great at just one of those is a huge deal, but to be named the best in the nation at both in the same year, that was just unheard of. So let me just spell this out so it's perfectly clear. This wasn't just a first for a business from Kentucky. No, this was a first for any business, anywhere in the entire United States, ever. Winning both of these top national awards in the same year, it was literally historic.
A historic win is incredible, of course, but the story doesn't just end there. The real question is, so what? What does it all mean for the future? Why does this one school story have the potential to be a blueprint for the rest of the country?
And here's why it matters so much. This isn't just a nice little feel-good story. It's a proven, replicable model. LBS Journey is a powerful blueprint for how to fix workforce development in a way that, actually works. And they're not just taking a victory lap. They're using this moment to shout from the rooftops. They've got a clear 3-point plan. 1, stop paying schools just for getting students in the door, pay them for getting students jobs. 2, cut the ridiculous red tape and pointless accreditation rules. And 3, give the power back to the state boards, the people on the ground who actually know what their local industries need. At the end of the day, this whole thing is bigger than just one school or one industry. It's about strengthening the very foundation for literally millions of small businesses and future professionals out there. It's just an amazing reminder, isn't it, that sometimes the biggest, most important changes really do come from the very last place you'd ever expect.